1, 2.
1, 2. Check.
Yes. I hear you well, Brother Sharif. Do you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Great. Alors, salutations à tout le monde, à tous ceux qui sont sur la place, Montréal, Canada, Haïti. Greeting to everyone all around the country, America, United States, whatever where you are. I would like to start by saying peace to everyone. Thank you for being with us on this platform. We're trying our best to share wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to everyone. And today I have once again, a great opportunity to have one of a strong brother that we have in our community, Brother Sharif Bey. Peace, salam alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. I'm honored to be on the show again and in your presence, brother, man. You're doing a great work.
Exactly. Let me just try to start by giving some volume here. We are on Facebook, so if you have the opportunity, everyone, to share, partager, to invite other people to come and join us. Nous allons faire un petit brassé. We're going to share some knowledge with our brother who will do a presentation to us. Last time we have shared, discussed some useful concept that we don't usually talk about. Those concepts were about nationality, ethnicity, and race. And today we will continue on, not on those subjects, but on 3 other subjects that our brother Sharif have choose for us. And so I will just remind everyone to share. And we're going to start very shortly. How was your day, brother?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Productive. But no, my day was actually very, very good. I was really anticipating, this particular show and sharing with you all and having you kind of share with me as well. So, I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to the show.
All right, I will try to do my best with what I have.
Well, you do good.
Sorry?
I said very well. You do very well.
Okay, thank you. There will be a small time where I will close my screen because I have to change my chair. I'm not very comfortable with that chair.
Understood.
Brother Sharif,
yes,
for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, can you just do us a little brief about who you are, your organization,
yes,
the team that you are working with?
Yes, sir.
Team.
Absolutely.
You are a teacher. I believe you are the official spokesman of your group. One of them.
Well, one of them. Yes, yes.
Right. So I give you. Talk to us about you a little bit, please.
Absolutely. My name is Brother Sharif Bey. I'm first and foremost your brother, and servant to humanity. I want to begin by saying, I want to begin in the name of Allah, the author, the governor, the creator of the worlds, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, but closer to you than your jugular vein. I want to give honors to the founder of the organization I belong to, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times. I want to give honors to all of you. I want to give a special honor to my brothers and comrades in uplifting fallen humanity, the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'd like to give honors to the members of the Nation of Islam. I'd like to give honors to our research team in Brotherhood, Ali's Men. So I am one of the founding members of Ali's Men, one of them. And that's it. I'm your brother. Ali's Men is a research team made of members of the Moorish movement. And one of the specific objectives of this research team is to produce responsible and cutting edge research that backs and supports the program and the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yes,
Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Yes, sir.
Please give us some more information about him, sir.
Sure. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina, 1886. He is the founder of the first Islamic organization in America in the modern era. And that is the Moorish Science Temple of America. It was founded in Newark, New Jersey in 1913 AD. The organization is an Islamic, or it is a religious and spiritual organization, but it is a religious organization with civic implications. What we mean by that is that if your spiritual development is of a benefit to you, then it should also, through you, be a benefit to society and the world and the community that you live. So our religious development, not in a way that proselytizes a particular faith tradition, but in a way that brings the best out of us as people and as citizens, right? That is what is projected into the social landscape. So that's what we mean, a religious organization with civic implications.
Interesting, brother. So you said a civic implication.
Yes, sir.
So, is this not a small detail, but is it one of the aspects that make a difference between the Moorish organization and other, how can I say that, religious organization?
Yes, it's definitely, in terms of structure and in terms of expressed intent, because ideally any endeavor that improves the individual by that improvement would benefit or should benefit society. But in our organization, it is part of the expressed intent of the founder of the organization to help the government by putting together an organization that improves the quality of citizenship and the quality and character of the citizenry.
Quality and the character of the citizenship.
That's a fact. Yes, sir. So to quote the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the organization was founded for the purpose of uplifting fallen humanity and teaching our people the things necessary to make better citizens out of men and women.
Can you please give us more explanation? What do you mean by our people? In that quote, that was the quote. What does Prophet the Noble Drew Ali mean by our people?
Okay, very good.
Our people?
Very good. We have been, our people in America, and it's very accentuated in America, but I'm sure there are parallels in Canada. I'm sure there are parallels wherever there's people in the African diaspora in the Western world, you will find parallels. But to speak about our people in America, we have been, and I use this term very specifically and very pointedly, socialized outside of, we've been socialized out of full enjoyment of rights and liberties that citizens enjoy. We have been socialized out of it, okay? And to the point where there's been an artificial history that has been brought into play to solidify this socialization. And that artificial history, one of the implications of it, or one of the things it states, is that we were never a part of it to begin with. So a large segment of our people in America were brought up to believe that we've always been on the outskirts. We've always been other than, and we're not intended to be a part of. You see, this is important.
Brother, I really love, j'aime bien that term that you use, which is, when you see my head down, by the way, I just want to be precise. It is because I am writing down, and I should.
No, you're good. You're good, brother.
Oh no, brother, this message is not for you. It's for the other.
Oh, okay.
Comment on dit, encourager. I encourage. Encourager. How do you say that in English? Encourager. Well, I'm trying to give an example to the other people who's looking at us
Understood.
Take note, please.
Yes.
Send us your question.
Please.
Because this is not the platform that I understand that some people are using the knowledge for diversity, but me, it's more that we are a student of life and we want to better our life. And like you said, you're using some term and some concept that are very important. And it's not everyone that know about the Moorish. So I'm very, very honored and happy to give the opportunity to give you a space where you can express, like you said,
yes, sir,
the teaching of Noble Drew Ali.
Yes, sir.
And to help us to break this artificial history, which is not our history.
That's right.
Thank you, brother.
Right. That's right.
And yes, continue, please.
So yes, so we were socialized out of this whole thing, you know, and then an artificial history was put in place to make us believe that we were never a part of it. So one of the things that's quoted in the Moorish Guide newspaper or stated in the Moorish Guide newspaper back in 1928 is there's the label, in this case, Negro, Black, Colored, Ethiopian, etc. And then that label describes, or that label marks a set of stigmas, a set of social stigmas that are attached to our people.
Can you please repeat the word? A type of social what?
Stigmas. Like a stigma is like a
S-T-E
S-T-I
S-T-I-M, a stigma. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Modern technology. Yes.
That's right. That's right. So yeah. So there's a set of stigmas that are attached.
The label.
But not attached to the label. This is important. It's not that they're so much attached to the label. The label identifies the body of stigmas that are attached to the people.
Thank you.
See, this is important. So, you know, and I say that to say this because there are a number of criticisms against the Moorish movement, and some of them are well-founded. One of them is this: you guys think that just by not calling yourselves Black, you're gonna skirt all of the issues dealing with Black America.
Just by doing that.
Just by saying you're not Black, right? So now, sadly, there's some of us in the movement that think this way. Yeah. That's a misunderstanding. Yeah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that we need to cease clinging to the names and the principles that delude the slavery. Okay, I can rip the label off the box and still have the box of stigmas. You see what I'm saying?
You continued in your government, in your kingdom, you think your thinking is attached to that label, even though you don't have the label anymore.
How many of us, think about it, how many of us in this conscious community, right, traded in the pale-skinned, straight-haired picture of Jesus for the picture of Amun-Ra and never changed this?
That's a good point, brother.
Never changed this. You see?
And this is where the war and this is where the work have to be started. Our brother Sharif, yes, go ahead.
And that again, the whole idea of the prophet saying, making us better citizens, right? Better citizens. Understand that the context of that. The segment of American society that does not want our people to enjoy the freedoms and liberties unmolested that citizenship provides, right?
Yeah.
That segment of society is happy as I don't know what when we believe we are not a part of the society. When we believe that we are doing their job. You see that? In America specifically, racism is not about genocide. In 2016, our people spent $1.6 trillion in that year. You don't throw away perfectly good batteries. You see, racism is not about genocide. Racism in this case is about preventing your full participation.
Can you please repeat? Racism is not a genocide, you said?
It's not about genocide.
It's not about genocide.
Right. It is about preventing the full participation of your full participation in society. Yes.
And that's a good point, because if we calculate, we're talking about United States in America.
Yes.
So when they have declared their, I believe it was in 1758 when they have declared their separation.
1776, July 4th.
76. In their constitution, and a constitution is what constitutes a country, we were not part of it.
No, not true.
Sorry?
Not true. Not true.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
And see, that's a brother. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a part of the artificial history. That is what, for instance, in the famous Dred Scott case, Scott versus Sanford, 1856, that was the opinion of the Chief Justice, Roger Taney. Remember, that wasn't the decision. The decision wasn't citizenship. The question that was being adjudicated wasn't whether our people were citizens. The question that was being adjudicated in that case was Dred Scott property when he went to Missouri Territory or not? That was the case.
In 1768?
No, later in 1865.
Oh, yes, emancipation. Okay, good.
In 1856, 1857. Now, what I'm about to show you is part of one of the dissenting opinions given by another justice in that very same case, where in opposing Taney's opinion, he let out some history that went against the Eurocentric narrative. Watch. Can I share the screen?
Hold on, let me double check. You suppose? Can you?
The screen? I can share the screen. Here we go. Can everybody see that?
Hold on.
This
okay,
comes
Lincoln
from a book.
Philosophy. Go ahead.
The book is called Lincoln's Philosophy of Common Sense by Edward Kempf. I'll put his name in the chat. This is page 510, volume 1. So Abraham Lincoln is quoting that particular judge, okay? I'll read it. Lincoln says this: I have said in substance that the Dred Scott decision was in part based upon assumed historical facts which were not really true. And I ought to leave the subject without giving some reason for saying this. I therefore give as instance or two, which I think fully sustain me. Chief Justice Taney, in delivering the majority opinion of the court, insists at great length that Negroes were no part of the people who made and for whom was made the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution of the United States. Hold on.
Thank you. Okay.
I was reading your mind.
Yes. Okay, good.
On the contrary, Justice Curtis, in his dissenting opinion, shows that in 5 of the 13 states, to wit, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina, free Moors were voters, and in proportion to their numbers, had the same part in making the Constitution that the white people had. He shows this with so much peculiarity as to leave no doubt of its truth, and as a sort of conclusion on that point, holds the following language. Now listen, now he's quoting Justice Curtis. Justice Curtis says this: the Constitution was ordained and established by the people of the United States through the action in each state of those persons who were qualified by its laws to act thereon in behalf of themselves and all other citizens of the state. In some of those states, we have seen Moorish persons were among those qualified by law to act on the subject. These Moorish persons were not only included in the body of the people of the United States, by whom the Constitution was ordained and established, but in at least 5 of the states, they had the power to act, and doubtless did act by their suffrages upon the question of its adoption. This is hidden history, dear brother. Hidden history. We are not supposed to know this. That was pulled away from the Eurocentric artificial history to condition us into never trying to be full citizens.
Brother, with this document that you just show us,
yes, sir.
When they are referring to the Moor, were they referring to people that were living at the other side in Africa? Oh, no? Okay.
They were referring to people that look just like you and I living right here in America. And again, remember, prior to the Civil War.
When was the Civil War?
The Civil War, from up to 1865, 1861 to 1865.
Oh, hold on. There's a question. Can you repeat the title of that book you just read?
Yes.
It's not a book.
Yes,
it's a document.
the book, I'll put it in the chat as well. The book is called Lincoln's, hold on, Philosophy of Common Sense by Edward Kemp.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Lincoln's Philosophy of Common Sense. That is the name of the book. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. He said, "I love my people and I desire for them to be redeemed or restored back to the constitutional standard. You can't go back to something you were never a part of to begin with." That's part of hidden history. We're taught that our history was entirely, we're brought here as slaves, and in our history began either with slavery or began at the end of the Civil War.
And I believe that's one of the subjects that we're going to discuss today.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
While talking about our subjects today, we have to move on. Before you start with the first subject, which was the Black narrative.
Yes, we can start wherever. We can even kind of
just give us a little more explanation on that, on the label, because I'm going to use this opportunity with what's going on here in Canada. So when we're talking about label,
yes, and
many labels that are attached to what we call stigma. Can you talk about the label Negro, the word Negro?
Ooh, yes. Let's well, first and foremost, the name Negro, right? That goes back as far as in terms of its aggressive use for our people. That goes back to the 15th century. That goes back to the end of the 15th century, specifically with our fall in Spain and us being expelled out of Spain. Okay, so it became a thing. It became a label, a conceit. Let's go to the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War, U.S. troops would call the North Vietnamese zipperheads. You see, it's a conceit. U.S. and Western troops call Somalians, skinnies, things like that. These are all European wartime conceits that later became socialized into the normal or the mainstream Western social fabric. And so the word negro, right, related to, in many cases in Latin languages, you can replace the C or the G or the O and the U, and you don't change the meaning of the word. So negro it can be seen as a corruption or a variation of necro. dead. You see?
Yes.
A dead people.
But not. I said yes, but I'm not going to trick you. But I just want to bring some more clarity. We know that Greek are not Spanish. So how did the word Negro come from Greek? Oh, okay, you're going to say me because they have mixed Roman with Greek, and after that, okay, I understand. Okay, I have my answer.
Romance languages, right. There you go.
So this is where the cross, it's Latin mixed with Greek that gave the word Negro in Spanish.
There you go.
Is that what I'm supposed to understand?
I believe so, yes. Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
And Portuguese. Okay, yes. Okay, brother, continue.
So, you know, those became, again, and it's very important to understand that those began as wartime conceits. And the psychology behind that is this. We know this all the time in dealing with adversaries. Even on our job, you give somebody you don't like on the job, like the boss, you give them a negative nickname. What does that do? It dehumanizes them in your mind. It makes it easy to look down on them. It makes it easy to dehumanize. In wartime, when you give the enemy a derogatory and you dehumanize him, it makes him easier to rationalize killing him.
Especially when after time they keep it and they started to call themselves like this without your.
So now we're starting to see the psychology that we're living under in the present day. Now we're seeing when people look at you in your society and look at me in my society, right? They look at us as other than the standard, other than the normal. So we are automatically stigmatized with an inherent criminality or an inherent propensity to negative antisocial behavior.
And that gives them the excuse or the reason to interfere, to arrest, and all the rest that comes.
Even and especially preemptive. You haven't done anything, but you might.
Yeah.
You see how that works?
Is it what you call later on the stigmata that was linked with the label?
That's it, brother.
Exactly. Okay.
That is it. That is what we're fighting against. Brother, you have experienced, I'm sure how deep this is, you have experienced in an African diasporic tradition out of Haiti, right? That experience affords you access to a particular way of thinking and mindset. That particular way of thinking presumes that a thought form, when made strong enough, can begin to think and act on its own to a degree. This is what we're dealing with.
We can see by the what you just said, the power of thought.
Yes.
And we can shape.
Yes. And with enough thought energy, that thought can now choose to a degree. That thought can now act to a degree. In English, the term is called egregore.
Egregore, yeah.
Egregore, right. So that's literally, when we're talking about this racism issue, we're talking about the world social, the stigmas, right, that are on our people around the world. This is what we're talking about. Oh, my camera, I'll take care of it.
Are you okay, Brother Sharif?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My camera's acting up. I should be okay now. Yes. So that's what we're talking about. You know, we're talking about in the real sense. We're talking about, for lack of a better word to use, a spirit. We're talking about an energy. We're talking about a psychology, something that is intangible, but creates conditions where tangible things happen. And that being said, I want to touch on this. Many of our people, because we are not spiritually thinking, right, in the scientific sense, not in the spooky sense, because we don't understand these things this way, we take the manifestations for the real thing.
Repeat.
We take the manifestations of the thing for the real thing. So We'll take the police officer shooting. We'll take racist acts as racism. Horrible. Why? Because if we take racist acts as racism, guess what it dumbs us down to? Sitting on our hands waiting for the next racist act. It makes us permanently passive.
Yes, because we wait. We are effect. We're not cause.
Ain't
So
that
we
something?
don't see. No, before the move.
Right.
I'm sorry. It reminded me of Wu-Tang. I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. Yes, sir.
You know, a game of chess. Huh? You must think first. We don't think of how they think. We're looking at how they act. But when they act, it's too late.
Too
You
late.
have to enter. Yeah, exactly. You
That's
doing
it.
martial art, you know.
Yes, sir.
How to intercept. Yes.
Correct. Racism is not, follow the analogy. The way most of our people would think of it, the racist act to them is racism. That's like you being in the ocean and the shark biting you. Racism is not the shark biting you. Racism is the water.
The Warner.
The water that the shark is in. See? It is the worldview. It is the condition that allows the shark to bite you in the first place. Think about it. We shoot each other all the time. What is the difference between us shooting each other and the cop shooting us? Answer: we don't have an institution that protects us in shooting anyone.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's the difference.
Yes.
We don't have institutions that protect us in acts against other people.
We're in 2020 with all of the mind that we have, all of those intellect, all of those people that are gifted with intellectual education. We don't have no institution to protect us.
No.
So when something happened, yes, go ahead.
Or at least, and in this case, I'm talking about institutions that would protect us in doing something bad to other people. I don't want an institution that allows that to happen. You get what I'm saying?
But Sharif, I know it's not, you see, you just brought out something that is very interesting about, you know, the fact that we don't. I mean, in the United States, you have been in the United States since the beginning. In United States, which is a beautiful example for us that are outside, you don't have no institution to protect you. Well, how many black people is there in the United States? More than almost 50 million?
Yes.
No institution to protect them?
Isn't that something? But now that's so deep, and I'm gonna and again, it speaks to the worldview that we've adopted. The worldview that we've adopted prevent us from properly organizing. See that? It prevents us from properly organizing. Every other organization, every other national group in America organizes as a matter of foregone conclusion.
Sharif, can we say that the challenge is for us to organize?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother, see, again, referring back to the spiritual tradition that you're familiar with coming out of Haiti, right? It is mandatory that you not only recognize your forefathers who have gone on before you, but you must treat them as if they're right here next to you. Why is that important? That's important because if I can remember my obligations to my forefathers and mothers, then me seeing my brother Gino as the same as myself is easy. It's a foregone conclusion. It's when I could see the connection between myself and my great grandparents who are no longer here in the flesh, and I can treat them as if they're sitting right next to me, then when it's so easy that if my brother Gino was hurting, I'm hurting.
Instant.
See that?
Yes, sir.
Instant. in other words, now things like community economics don't even have to be spoken about. I'm gonna spend with my brother. I don't have a choice. See that?
Common sense.
The so-called black on black crime issue thing is not an issue anymore. Why would I hurt me? That's my brother. He's me. I'm not hurting me. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Without this connection to our forefathers, we are lost in space. Now we are truly individuals. We are the body of Osiris chopped into 14 pieces.
We have to reconnect to become the body. That's just very good, Brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
I love the fact because there's a lot of people that believe that because you are a member of the Nation of Islam or Moorish, you are disconnected to your ancestor. And you just mentioned it. No. I have to reconnect. And
brother, what are we in these organizations? In the Nation of Islam, the complete name for the organization, the laborers for the Lost Foundation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
See that?
Yeah.
Same thing in our organization, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Objective, uplift fallen humanity. This is not a social club.
No, sir. And like you said in the beginning, we're here to help what? The government. And of course, the government have to respect the principle of justice, freedom, and equality, by the way. Not any government.
But you see how that works though, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Follow me. Follow this, right? If, you know, how did Jesus put it in the Bible? He said, basically he was making a joke, but he was being sarcastic, talking about hypocrisy. You got some nerve complaining about the speck of wood in your brother's eye, the speck of dust in your brother's eye, when you got a beam of wood hanging out of yours. First thing you got to do is take the beam of wood out of yours, then you can see clear enough. Right?
Yes.
When I tell the truth on myself, you can no longer use it against me. And if I'm wrong and you're wrong, and you insist on being wrong, the moment I get right and fix myself, all the light shines on you.
Exactly.
This is how we're helping the government.
Brother, very good point. Especially, look at how you say that, secondism. I don't know if it's a word in English. Secondism?
I don't know. How do you?
Secondism. Okay, somebody help me in the chat how you said secondism in English. The timing. Okay, the timing. Look at this. Look at what you just said. Using the example of Jesus in the Bible.
Yes.
We are in October 25th, and it's the 25th anniversary of the Holy Day of Atonement.
Yes, it is. Synchronicity. That's right.
Timing. So yes, you're right. Before we go to the government and start to say this and that, well, we have the work to do in ourselves, and by doing the work in ourselves, we become what? Like you said, an example.
Remember what happened to us 500 some odd years ago, right? What happened to us, we fell from our own degradation. Someone from afar came and took advantage of that and put their foot on us, right? Wiped our memories clean. Instilled negative stigmas and a negative behavior in us, and then presented us to the world, presented God's people to the world as, look what I did with God's people.
Crucify.
There you go. So when we can say, oh, this is what happened to us. I'm no longer going to act this way towards my brother. I'm no longer going to do the things that create hatred, lewdness, slander, murder, theft, and everything that harms. What are you literally saying? I'm taking off, I'm putting away what they put on me 500 years ago.
And that is a sign of how your degree of responsibility became when you're able to do that.
Biblically speaking, that is the resurrection in the book of Revelation.
Of the dead. Yes, sir.
That's what it is. That's what it is. People coming out of a grave.
Yes.
It's people going from a dead horizontal to a living perpendicular.
I need to agree.
That's right. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Great. So, Brother Sharif, like I said in the beginning, when we start to talk,
Yes, sir.
let's go through the subject. The first one was do you have in front of you?
We're talking about. I've got a couple things in front of me. Let me see.
Black identity and the slave narrative, free
Slave narrative.
Asiatic.
Yeah, we already let's go. We already kind of jumped in it. You know, with everything, there is a quality and character with the thing, right? So with the labels, Black, Negro, colored, with these things come a set of stigmas or a set of principles indicative of the thing, right? We give people nicknames, right? Have we ever been around a friend or a group of friends when that friend or you yourself received that nickname? And what is the time frame between receiving the nickname and then you acting like the nickname? Almost immediate. You see? So words, once again, referring to spiritual science or scientific spirituality. Words are spelling. Spelling is casting spells. Words have power. Words are things.
Can I add something?
Please.
In the beginning was the word. And the word was
with God, and the word became flesh and dwelt among us. Right.
Continue, brother.
We call the word in this case, like, again, this comes from Neoplatonism, and it comes from the ancient Greeks, the term logos.
Yes.
Creative fiat. Allah's will to make himself known in the manifest world. Right? And so that's what that is. That's what the word is. The word is creative fate. The word is creative fiat. In the Arabic, it's kum fayakum. Be and it is.
And it is. So, Brother Sharif, if you can allow me.
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful demonstration of how we are using our divine power backward.
Yes.
Instead of calling us God, or instead of name out our divinity when we interact each other, we do the contrary. And
isn't that something?
Is that something? Yes, sir.
So, man, listen. That's what European psychology did to us. You see, that is what the European psychology did to us. And remember, this is now follow me, right? The United States and Vietnam does great business together today. Incredible business together. In our lifetimes, they were killing each other wholesale. Yes. So for Vietnam to say, hey, the United States did X, Y, and Z, does the United States feel bad? Do they say, hey, you're slandering us, don't do that?
It's still doing business.
So there's no slander when we say, listen, the beginnings of racism was wartime conceits in the war between old world Christianity and old world Islam. It's not a disrespect. It's not a disrespect to America or American society.
No,
it's not an insult to show, hey, no, this is old history, and this is how this particular old history pans out in today's society. This is the number one reason why you see an uptick in Islamophobia and simultaneously in racial hostility. Because the old world conceits saw them both together. If you were a Muslim in the old world, you were Asiatic. If you're a Christian in the old world, you were European.
Brother Sharif, don't go too fast.
Sorry.
Please, repeat what you just said.
Yes, sir.
Think of it like talking about the old world. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Old world, right. Contrary, you have a lot of conspiracy theorists who say, well, the New World Order started with George Bush said, no. There is Western civilization. Western civilization can be generally divided into two different periods of the modern era: Old World and New World. Old World isn't talked about too much. You'll hear some people refer to it affectionately, you know, oh, the old country, oh, the old, right? Like, especially in Italy, Greece, you hear this, the old country, the old world, the old idea, right? Okay. What began, or what was the point, the line dividing Old World from New World? 1492.
Yes, okay.
That
We're
was
talking
it.
about Christopher Columbus discovered
2 months before Christopher Columbus sailed.
2 months before what?
2 months before Christopher Columbus sailed.
Yes.
The fall of Granada and the expulsion of the Moors from Spain.
We never talk about that.
And this is why it's not talked about, because it involves you.
So it's the fall of Granada and the Moorish.
The fall of the Moors at Granada.
And after 2 months later, we have Christopher Columbus.
Christopher Columbus was present.
Oh, there's a link.
Yes. There's so many, you know what? Just as a quick experiment, you can Google these words. I'm going to do it right now. You can go to Google and Google Columbus and then Granada. Just those two words.
Can you please, after that, share it with us in the screen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hold on just a second.
While you're doing that, I just want to remind everyone that we're talking about the two world. One is new and the old one.
Yes.
And I will remind Brother Sharif to help us to understand why he said that the old world people were Muslim, were Asiatic at the same time. So
that's a fact. So
yes, go ahead, sir.
Look what we have here. Matter of fact, here, let's look. newworldencyclopedia.org.
All right.
See that part right there?
The one that you have highlight?
Yes. Granada contains the beautiful Alhambra Palace, a gem of Islamic architecture, the loss of which is mourned in the Muslim world. The fall of Granada marked the final act in the Reconquista, the campaign by the medieval Christian states of Spain to drive out the Moors.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Now look at this. A society that had often seen Muslims, Jews, and Christians interacting positively had ended. The fall of Granada was a factor in the Spanish and Portuguese drive to acquire overseas colonies, influencing their attitude of ineffable superiority toward the cultures and religions they encountered in the New World, for which Christopher Columbus set sail later in the year of Granada's defeat. Hold on. Let me back up out of here and show you something else. Again, see, here's the thing. This history is only secret to us because we have the wrong worldview. We have the wrong psychology. When you're given certain key things pieces of information, it sets your mind on the right path to look. Who would have thought that Columbus, the transatlantic slave trade, the founding of the New World, and the expulsion of the Moors, or the defeat of the Moors in Spain, were all tied together? Who would have thought? All tied together. Watch this. Columbus, defeat Moors. I just putting these words in. That's all. I'm just putting these words in. And one of my favorite books pops up. The Dogs of God. All of you should have this book, by the way. Look at the title of the book. The Dogs of God, Columbus, the Inquisition, and
the defeat of the Moor.
boom. Isn't that something?
Isn't that something? Wow.
See?
Isn't that something? So you see, thank you, Brother Sharif, because you just have motivated us to add some more data in our history class that we have.
Outstanding.
Talking about that part.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is extremely, I'm going to stop sharing. This is part of the hidden history. It's a part of the hidden narrative. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, through sin and disobedience, every nation suffered slavery. Right? Then he says, that is why the nationality of the Moors is taken away from them. Now, remember what nationality means. It doesn't just mean identity. It means the quality and character that goes with the identity. How about that?
We're gonna put that quote of yours, highlight. Nationality is the quality and
character
that go with your identity. And when we say nationality, last time you have give us some example.
Yes,
we're talking about nation, when nation interact together.
That's right.
We're not talking about ethnicity.
No, we can, but that's a subdivision of nationality.
Thank you very much. So like you give us as an example, you can live in Italy and be an Italian, but you have a different ethnicity with another Italian
inside
because those ethnicity have become together to become Italy. It's like in America, you can be an American, but you can be a Chinese American. Right. So you're an American, but you have a different.
Now watch this.
This
review from the last one, from the last show we had. This is another difference in old world thinking and new world thinking. Old world thinking is like the example with Italy. Those are all Italian ethnic groups. Sicilian, Calabrese, etc. In America, they're different national groups.
They're not ethnicity. You're right, sir.
That's new world thinking. This is a new idea. New world order.
Hey, that's a good point, brother, because when we say Chinese American, it's two nations. None of them are ethnicity. Thank you for clarifying that point.
Civics 101, American Civics 101, and the term civics means the part of political science that deals with the rights, duties, and responsibilities of citizens. Okay. Civics 101 in America, American Civics 101, every American citizen has two flags. Because the American ideal is out of many nations, one nation can come out of it.
Wow.
See? So the prerequisite is that you got to be able to say where you came from. If you can't, no social recognition. You are not recognized.
Brother Sharif, you're saying that in that course you're talking Civic 101.
Civics, basic civics. But now why this is so important is because if we look at it from that perspective, where does race play a factor? The racial overtone and white supremacy usurped the American ideal.
So are you telling us that we're talking about American, there will be a conflict between those two, the white supremacy?
It already is. It already is. The
because when they say
versus states' rights in American history. The Federalists will say, like Barclay, Thomas Barclay, when he signed the Treaty of Tripoli, he straight up says in the Treaty of Tripoli, since the United States was in no way founded on the Christian religion, there should be no issues between this treaty with us and the Muslims of Tripoli. Remember, during this time, there was still religious fighting between Muslims and Christians were identified as Europeans. Thomas Barclay states specifically in the Treaty of Tripoli, the United States is not a Christian nation. But
United States, this is very important.
yes,
He said that United States is not a.
let me try to pull it up while we're talking.
He's going to search for Google to support this point. All right.
Yes. So this now remember, this is a big conflict in American civics, in American society. Is America a Christian nation or not? Follow me. At its foundation, no. But was the idea, the white supremacist idea, what did it do? It usurped, it hijacked the American ideal.
I understand, yes.
Hence states' rights. The whole states' rights thing is based on Christian identity, which is a throwback to the old world Euro-Christian worldview.
Okay, Sharif,
So
I have a
that
question.
overthrew the true American ideal.
Sharif, I have a question.
Yes.
So we agreed that the beginning of the new world
Yes.
start in 1492. Let's say after the end or the defeat of the Moor.
Yes.
And we're talking about the war of Inquisition, right?
Yes.
Now, the idea of white supremacy coming to usurp the true idea of American,
Yes.
where does that come from? Is it an idea that was in the Inquisition?
Yes. It didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah. This is so like we say in the Moorish Science Civil American Divine Constitution and Bylaws. We say these names, Negro, Black, Colored, etc., were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. We know that what happened to us began 500 years ago in Spain. So why use those numbers? The answer is because we're talking about the United States of America now. These things took place, these other things took place before there even was a United States of America.
Mm-hmm. It was before.
Correct. We're talking about when the United States of America adopted the Eurocentric supremacist ideals.
When was that?
We're talking from 1779.
This is at the same time when they start to re-identify what was a Moor, which was the name given by the slave master to the
In
slave.
other words, it says that was the beginning of you guys with the denationalization, the denying of ancestry.
A way to wipe out everything that you know about the old world so you can become a new fabric in the new world. Okay, good. I'm trying to follow you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here.
Yes, sir. That's it. And again, once again, to prevent, if we can prevent equal recognition, then we automatically prevent equal unmolested participation.
You were talking about social participation, right? In the beginning.
Now follow me. This is how deep the whole social issue is. Politics trumps the law. Why? Because it's politics that determines the lawmakers.
Politics determine the lawmaker?
Yes. Politics is the ongoing public relations conversation that determines who governs, who are the representatives of the people.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So politics trumps the law, but watch this. Sociology trumps politics. Because you already, think about racism in the workplace. You know what you're doing? Policing racist acts. You are not dealing with racism in the workplace. You know why? Because the people are already socialized before they left home. They were by age 13, they're already socialized. See?
So is that a way to show the order how the thing works? So actually, if we reverse that because we want to counter that power, we should start socialized before to affect politics, to affect those who.
What you just said, there you go, brother. That's what is meant by when the Prophet Noble Ali said, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. Now remember, nationality is a quality or character. And then proclaim means to make known. We need to make known the quality and character of our righteous forefathers. You have to live it. When you live it, you change the narrative, you change the social fabric, you change the perception.
That's very good. So that's why we have to unite to do that.
Plain and simple.
And by uniting the part of the body that have been separate at death, you were talking about Osiris, we become the body, and then from there we can affect politic, and we can affect, what was the other part? Politic affect law.
Law. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir. So we see the importance of unite. You see the importance to come together and, be able to work those quality of character, like you said. Okay, good.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, economic security, I'm paraphrasing. He said, one of the things our people need the most is economic security. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self. There is no issue whatsoever that prevents us from working together, our organizations from working together towards that end.
Yeah.
None. You see?
So all those organizations,
yes,
we're talking about, must come together and become the body.
Right.
We're talking about Osiris or Osar.
Yes.
I got you there, brother. Yeah.
We have a saying in one of our additional laws. It says, all members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we're to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The last thing we need to be doing, unless it is absolutely necessary, is talking crazy about any of our people in any organization that purports to uplift our people. Think about it. That's a practice that we carried over from the old world that caused our fall. See, when we got knocked over the head and lost our memory, the issues that caused us to get knocked over the head are still there. So when you wake back up, you still got those issues to deal with. How did you fall in the first place? We didn't lose our identity and then fall. We lost our identity as a result of us falling. We knew exactly who we were when we fell.
So we say in French, le dépouillement de notre identité, the loss of our identity came after our fall.
Yes. It came as a consequence.
It's a consequence, yeah, an effect, a consequence. It was not the cause.
It wasn't the cause.
Sir, I will take this opportunity just to ask you to clarify. Why did you say that all world, if you're a Muslim, you are a Asiatic? I don't know if I quote you well.
Yes.
I understand why you're saying that, but for the other people, why do you say Asiatic? Are you saying that I'm like Asiatic? What is the meaning of Asiatic? Where do you come? Why do you say that? I mean, I'm black. Why you said Asiatic? I'm from Africa. What do you say Asiatic? So some people will ask that question, brother. So how do you answer that?
Beautiful. I'm so glad you asked that. You all have a lesson. Why does the devil call our people Africans?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And the last part of that lesson says this. He wants us to think we are all different.
Exactly. Yes.
And then he talks about, and the lesson talks about buying, a certain segment of our people living in the jungles. Notice it mentions, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's answer mentions a certain segment of our people living in the jungles, right?
Yes.
And then it said the original people call it Asia, but the devil calls it Africa, try to divide them. He wants to think we're all different, right?
That's a very good point, yes.
Okay, so watch. The narrative, follow me close. I want the listeners to follow me close. The narrative that what they call in anthropology in the West, the true Negro, is only the sub-Saharan African, is part of European psychology.
We saw that last conversation when you have shown us, you even shown us it came from who and how they have
Charles Seligman, that's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I remember.
The Hamitic hypothesis. That being said, that narrative says that Africans in North and Northeast Africa are not Africans.
Yes.
But
Please.
Arabs and pastoral Europeans, Euro-Africans. In other words, what did they just do? They just cut you off. They cut you off from your identity. That's called birthright stealing. That being said, to say, well, now we get to the term Asiatic or Afro-Asiatic. By the way, the Europeans, I redefine Asiatic as something more akin to them, not you.
Before, can you please remind us the name of that person that we have discussed last time that has separated?
I'll put it in the chat.
Yes.
His name is Charles Seligman. He promoted what's called the Hamitic hypothesis.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. And so, so anyway, what is the term Asiatic? What is the term Arab? The term Arab is not a race of people. The term Arab, when you look up the definition, is a language group. The term Asiatic or Afro-Asiatic is a language group. That's what it is. And what does it encompass? When you look it up, you'll see the people that it encompasses. And you'll be like, oh, that's us. Correct. So to say Asiatic is to restore birthright. It's to tell the truth. You know, whereas European psychology has separated North Africa from the rest of Africa, to say Asiatic puts it back together.
Brother,
Yes, sir.
You said something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You said that, first of all, the word Arab
Yes.
does not design a people, but a language. That is very interesting, because today when we're talking about Arab, we're talking about people that are living in Africa.
How about that?
Algeria, Maroc, we say, oh, they are Arab. But you see, you understand what I mean? They're not in the peninsula of Arabia. They're in Africa. We call them. So that is a very good point. So I just want to repeat.
That's Arab, so important because what else came out of that narrative is the whole myth, and it's a myth, that a race of Arab people enslaved African people.
Oh, yes, there's a connection that comes with the label. We're talking about label and stigma again. Yes. So
with an artificial label comes what? Artificial history.
Stigma. Yes, sir. And for the word Asiatic, you are saying that the word, it's a name that is linked to a language too, if I understand. Absolutely. And not to a people.
A people. See, now, when we say Asia, Asiatic, now what we're talking about in the ancient world is the world population.
A world population. There were no separation. The separation came after with Charles Seligman.
Yeah. So again, what we're talking about here is returning to our forefathers' way of thinking.
Exactly. Get out of that artificial thinking. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know what? Sometimes I'm gonna say it in French. Will be better.
No, you're correct. It's fine. It's fine. So right, in the old world, when we talk Asiatic or whatever, we're talking about the known world. Many different cultures, many different. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh yes, sir. I understand. So it was like I use the word confederation, but group of people that were commerce, economy, doing business together, respecting each group their sovereignty,
or not, or at war with each other.
Oh, yeah. Or we're going to war. Yes.
There you go.
The old war. Yes. I mean, if I don't like you, I'm going to work. Yeah, I understand.
There you go. There you go. Classic example. The brother Reggie, who I debated back in 2016, as a slight, or he attempted to slight the whole Moorish ideal, said, well, it was the Moors that destroyed the Songhai Empire and sacked Timbuktu. He's right. He's right. But it's based on a thinking that Moors were not African.
Oh yeah, that was in 2015, no?
Yes.
The presentation. Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
That's right. You know, so it's coming from a perspective of trying to imply that Moors are not African, and they did this to a proud African people. Pause. He's talking about the Battle of Tondibi in 1591. The Battle of Tondibi.
Recently, okay.
Yes. And what took place was Moors just finishing a military campaign against the Portuguese. And then needing to restore finances because of all the money spent. So they took control of a silver mine in Timbuktu.
But brother, all this happened like almost 100 years after the war that we were just talking about. I mean, after the fall. So it's I mean, okay, hold on. You understand what I mean? Because now we're not talking about the same. We're not in the old world. We're in the new world. It happened in the new world.
Well, the new world began. This is still old world. This happened over.
Yes, it is the remain of the old world that was there.
There
yes,
you go.
Yes. But we were in the transition.
Yes, sir. And definitely in transition. Think of it like this. Teddy Roosevelt played a key part as a side note. Teddy Roosevelt played his era, President Teddy Roosevelt, his era played a key role in the switch from old world to new world from a world perspective. We're talking about the end of kingdoms and empires and dominions and the beginning of the proliferation of nation states.
Interesting. And when was the end of those words that we were not using anymore?
The last world empire was the British Empire.
It's still there, no? With the
Great Britain. It's not the British Empire. It's a nation state, no longer an empire. See that?
Yeah, you're right.
So those were old world ideas. You see, the last one was Britain, the British Empire. You see, and so. That was so Teddy Roosevelt, like what really signaled it? The end of the Ottoman Empire.
The what?
The end of the Ottoman Empire at the turn of the century.
Yes.
Okay.
When was the end of the Ottoman Empire? Was it the end? It was at the same time of Christopher Columbus. It was before that.
Oh no! The end of the Ottoman Empire took place much later, 1920.
Wow. 1920?
1920.
And so can you please let us know its longevity? It lasts for what? How many centuries?
The Ottoman Empire went from, the Ottomans, hold on. That's a good question.
Si quelqu'un sur le chat peut trouver la datation de l'Empire ottoman, combien de temps qu'il a duré, ça sera apprécié.
The Ottoman Empire is, from from our perspective, we would call the middle to the latter part of the Moorish Empire. See, here, follow me. The Moorish Empire, the Moroccan Empire, is also in history called the Islamic Empire. What are we talking about? We're talking about Islam influencing a world power. An Islamic influenced world power that had its headquarters where? North Africa.
North Africa. Was it not a conflict with Lamech?
With who?
In Arabia, where you do the Hajj.
Oh,
was it not a conflict?
Nah. And see, again, this is so deep, brother. But to answer your question initially, the beginning of the Ottoman Empire was around 1299, medieval era.
Oh, okay. 1299.
1299.
Okay. You know what? In my head, the Ottoman. Oh yeah, you're right. And those are the people who block the European to doing business.
Yes. Okay. So, like for instance, 1453 Byzantine, Muhammad II When he conquered Constantinople, he was considered an Ottoman.
Mhm.
That's part of our history. It's part of Moorish history. You see? Now, this is deep because even the rulership, the Islamic rulership, from a complexion perspective, later became lighter and lighter.
With time.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaks of this, talking about the science, but talks about the Islamic scientists becoming bleached out. You see? Yeah. So we're talking, you know, we're talking world trends and standards, world trends, things rising and falling.
And how this ideology,
Yes.
you said the word usurper in French,
Yeah.
usurper,
Took over.
take over.
Yes. So, like for instance, and there's tons of writings on this by Arabs, especially during the Umayyad dynasty, where the Arabs were so proud of their dark olive tone, their dark brown skin. That was the mark of being a true Arab. Okay? And the pale Arabs, they called Mustariba, the Arabicized Arabs. See that? That trend was a social trend that later years changed. See?
And what is interesting is that for us, by saying this, we did not identify who those black people that we call Arab were actually, because Arab was only the language. So they might be Kushite, but we identified them as the people who were living there.
How about that? So when the European, you know, anthropologists and sociologists who remember, they were anthropologists, sociologists, archaeologists, scholars, whatever, but they were backed by a worldview that said us over everybody.
Exactly. Very good point. Yeah.
So with that, they said, oh, here's an opportunity here. We're the Arabs. It's not you. Matter of fact, those guys enslaved you.
Oh yes, this artificial history. Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't look at us. They did it to you before we did. You see? And then,
yes.
but now you've got things like this, which is, oh my goodness. When you, okay, follow me. When you have, I think I've shown this before. When you have the right history, okay? When you have the right history behind you, here we go. Yep. Hopefully this pops up. Okay, there we go. All right. When you have the right history behind you, when you see things like this, the extraordinary story of Thomas Pellow and North Africans' 1 million European slaves.
When was that? Was that the period before, you know, there was a time where they came out with the word slave from Slavius?
It was,
people?
watch this.
Yes.
The time period where these things took place, brother, I'm sorry. The time period where these, hold on. The time period where these things took place was commensurate to the transatlantic slave trade. These things are going on at the same time. Look at this one.
White slavery in the Barbary state.
Barbary states, Morocco, Tunis, Algeria, Tripoli. Those are the Barbary states. In other words, even the slavery thing, we did it to them first. But when they separate Arabs from sub-Saharan Africans, they'll say, not you. See?
And you know, when we talk about history and slavery, we never mention about those white people who were slaves too.
But guess what? That now you know the real motivation behind radical white supremacist organizations. They know this history. But the reason why it's kept secret is because to claim superiority means that you are always superior. They can't tell that you enslaved them first, because then it marks a time when they were not superior. See?
Now, hold on a second. I have to double check something too. Sure, American racist, the child of old world crusade between Islam and the church. Yes. American racist, the child of old world crusade. Okay. All right. Sorry, Brother Sharif. I went to double check the title of subject. So we have discussed about the importance of taking our mind out of this artificial fabric history.
Yes.
We have talked about the old world and the new world.
Yes.
One point that was very important is on the when you said the civic class 101.
Yes.
How you have to raise the two flags that identify the person, so which is the American flag and where you're coming from.
Where you come from.
Where you've come from.
That's
We're
right.
talking about two nationality.
Yes, sir. Very huge.
Which is very important because for us who live in Canada, we never talk about that. So now, starting from today, you're gonna see me right.
Yes.
They're gonna be like, what?
Yes.
What's going on? Yeah, two nationality.
Isn't that something?
Is that something? Because many people are mixed, are confused. We have talked about the label, the word Negro. We have talked about how the new word start with Christopher Columbus, but at the end of the defeat of the Moorish, which was 2 months before, we have talked about what is the definition of nationality, which is very important. The different with the subgroup of ethnicity.
Yes.
How you can have many ethnicity come together and become a nation.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Yes. And we have talked about the switch of rulership, the overthrow of the rulership in the United States from a group of people that, how you say that? You use the word usurp, but the usurp the true meaning of what was an American before.
Oh, yes.
Now it became something else.
Yes. And this is important to understand because many of us in America believe that America at its inception is racist when it's not.
And it's not, no. Because we, in the beginning, we have read what Lincoln have wrote in his book, Common Sense.
There you go.
That there were more people, the Moorish people that were participating, voting.
Right. Full citizenship.
Full citizenship. And I believe that they were able to identify themselves with, I believe, but in that context, sir, when they, from those Moor, the flag that they were raising for the nationality was the Moorish flag?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yes. It's because, again, remember, if it says, see, this is what's so significant about that. Justice Curtis said Moorish persons. That's
Moorish
why
what?
Moorish persons.
Okay, yes.
The name itself implies a known political entity with a culture, with a history, etc., with interaction with other nations. What is that? Social recognition.
Social recognition.
Recognized.
So, like you said, it starts with social recognition first to affect politics, to affect law.
That's it. That's it.
And when we're talking about social recognition, as a group, we have to come together and manifest the quality and the character that go with our identity. I understand. Okay, good.
Yes, yes. No other way. And that quality of character does not mean specifically, this is deep. It doesn't specifically mean like, how can I put it? Very stiff social practices so much. What it means is how I treat my brother or sister from the heart. That's what it means. And
Brotherhood.
Culture comes from that. You see, culture comes from that.
Brother Sharif, can you not repeat, but
yes,
reform that sentence? Because I understand that you say culture come from that, but so go ahead.
Social norms, social interactions that become standardized culture through how we treat each other.
Love of the brotherhood in the Bible, yes.
Yeah, we have to fix that first. That we forgot the relation that binds us to love and unity. That's how we fell the first place.
This is a wonderful message for each one of us, because sometimes we think only for ourselves and we forgot about the brother that is right at our side.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, we lost, and that's what we lost. We lost that. We walked away from that. And the penalty for walking away from that is heathen from afar came, and what we all had, we lost in one short hour.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know what that was called? That was called the wrath of Allah.
Oh, yes.
That's the wrath of Allah.
And there's a part, where's that in the Bible? When it said that, it said, because you have rejected, I forgot what it was. Osea, I believe it was the prophet who said that.
Isaiah, yes. Yeah. That's right.
Because you have rejected, I will reject you.
And exactly. That's right. And now when I pull myself away from you, you got problems. Yeah.
I have a question, Brother Sharif.
Yes,
sir. Many people ask that question. And I would like to see the answer in the Moorish perspective.
Yes, sir.
It's concerning the Bible and our people.
Wow.
Many people say that it is not our book. We have to put it away. You're laughing because I think you understand the question. So in the Moorish perspective, Prophet Nubur Juali, how do you explain that? Not justify, but how do you explain? Okay, because in the Moorish, you believe in the Bible.
Absolutely.
As the book of our people. So how do you explain that?
Well, it's like remember we talked about a worldview, a way of thinking. A psychology is a way to process information. If you have an artificial psychology, I can give you the truth right in your face and you can't understand it. If I restore your psychology, you can pick up anything and find yourself. So the reason why the Bible gives us issues is because we don't see ourselves in it. But we don't see ourselves. And that's because we've lost the knowledge of ourselves. We've lost that. So because of that, we don't know what we're looking at. We don't see ourselves in it. What is the significance? We say we have a questionnaire, 101 questions and answers in more science in America. We say
100?
101. Yep, 100.
Oh, it's like lesson number 1, like lesson number 2.
It is like what it's like. It's like
question and answer.
It's more like English lesson C1.
Oh, English lesson. Oh, yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that is it.
Oh, okay.
101 questions and answers. It's structured call and response like English lesson C1.
Okay.
See, now one of the questions asked says, who was Jesus? Answer, he was a prophet of Allah. Where was he born? Answer, follow me close. In Bethlehem of Judah, in the house of David. There's so much information in that answer. First, Bethlehem, geographic location. Of Judah, the tribe. Then it says the house of David. What is a house? It's not talking about a physical edifice. We're talking about a dynastic line of royal blood. Jesus was born of somebody. He wasn't some poor dude. And because he was in a dynastic line of royal blood, he had eyes on him. Because what were people looking for at that time? The Messiah.
The Messiah.
See that? So that simple answer gave us the proper perspective on how to see Jesus. Says, who was his father and mother? Joseph and Mary. Whoa, wait a minute. According to the Bible, he didn't have no physical father. But if you read in your Bible, if you read the genealogy given about Jesus in the book of Matthew and in the book of Luke, the prophecies in Isaiah and other places, it says that the Messiah would come through the bloodline of David.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The house of Judah.
Joseph was of the bloodline of David, not Mary. Hold on. Then when you read Romans, first chapter, the first 3 verses, the Apostle Paul says, he is called to the defense of the gospel concerning our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who was born the seed of David according to the flesh. Boom. But declared to be the Son of God according to the Spirit.
Yes.
After the resurrection. So the Bible does agree with that. The Bible does say he had an earthly father. If he didn't, he wouldn't have been the Messiah.
That's a good point.
See?
That's a good point.
So we have to have the proper perspective. The proper perspective. When we start looking at, wait a minute, he had a mother and father. Right. Right. What was Jesus's title?
Messiah, Christ.
That was one. What was his earthly title? And known that he was known for in society that he lived.
Oh, the son of David, the son of Joseph.
Rabbi.
Rabbi. Yes, rabbi.
What are some of the requirements, some of the social and religious requirements to be a rabbi of his day?
What is, repeat the question. What is there?
What are some of the main social requirements?
Yes.
To be a rabbi in his day? Had to be married.
You have to be married. Okay, brother. Whoa. Brother Sharif, you have an idea in your mind, and you're trying to go somewhere. I see that. And you want me to have some problems.
But my point is this. Here's the point. Let's back up a little bit. It's a known fact, it's easily researchable, that the idea that Jesus was a virgin, the idea that Jesus was never married, the idea that he never had a physical father, these were decisions made.
Many years after.
Council of Nicaea, 322, 325 AD.
Yes, they have a debate on that. Yes, sir, you're right.
That was not the thought about Jesus prior to that time.
That's a very good point. And now I understand more what you mean by take out this artificial perspective and be able to go through the book with a right perspective.
There you go.
But at the same time, Brother Sharif,
yes, sir.
I have seen what you have done. You said that one of the qualifications to be a rabbi is you have to be married.
Mm.
And that's what's one of the names that we call Jesus.
Guess what else? Married with children.
Sorry?
Married with children. Yes.
I know that was not in our table to discuss. Oh, but
no. No. There's a word that I'll put in the chat.
Go ahead, sir. Oh wow.
What
Desposini. What is the meaning of that word? And what is that word is what? Latin?
Greek.
Greek. And disposini. What does that mean?
Disposini, right? From the Greek, means belonging to the master or lord. It was a sacred name reserved for the relatives and children or bloodline of Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So he had children.
Let's just say this, right? And
Yes,
we can make this another show because we have enough material.
Oh, yeah, because this should be another show. Yes, sir.
Yes. But let's just say this, right? Could that be another factor playing into what happened to our people in Spain and in North Africa?
I mean, the idea that it will be behind that give birth to that secret keeping information for not us knowing that. So they'd be able to.
Is it possible that I'm talking to a descendant right now on this?
It might be possible.
Okay.
You don't know because they have done everything to understand. So this comes from what is the prodigy son? I mean, there's a parable when you are not able to retrace your descendant.
Yes,
and you go astray.
Yes.
I believe that the story of the prodigy son, this is what happened. He had decided to take his life and go away from his father and live another type of life.
Isn't that something?
So what you're saying is that maybe the fact that it had hide all those information. We're talking about Spain. We're talking about Moorish.
Yes.
We're talking about Jesus. Could there be a link with us? Am I following you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So we have to undiscover everything. Go ahead, sir. Yes.
The fact that there is that word, desposity, right? And when you look at it, you'll find that the Roman Catholic Church in various points in time had people chasing them, hunting them down.
Brother Sharif,
why would the church, here's the question, why would the church be hunting these people down?
Question. For having their secret or the information that they have.
Remember the narrative that the church pushed. Jesus didn't have no children. Yeah.
Brother Sharif, we have a question in the chat. Are you able to read it?
To see ourselves in the Bible is not using old technology, aka Google, that are destructive to us. I think I can ask them to send it to you in French.
You want me to ask what?
Can they retype the question in French and then you translate for me?
Okay, Marc. I said your name. I'm sorry. Reformule ta question en français, puis on va le donner aux panélistes, s'il te plaît. Se voir dans la Bible, ce n'est pas utiliser la vieille technologie, aka l'égrégore, qui nous est destructif. L'égrégore, tu parles-tu de l'égrégore de l'ennemi? J'imagine que c'est ça. Okay. To see ourselves in the Bible, sir, is it not a way to use the technology that the enemy have used, aka, putting our mind, our thought in ourselves and bringing our mind and our thought to the egregore that is actually destroying us?
So, in other words, let me see if I got this straight. Is using the Bible using the adversary's egregore? Is that what the question is implying?
Yes. So yes, I believe. Yes, okay. He said yes. Yes.
And he said yes. Okay. The answer is, okay, that's deep. I'm thanking for that question. The stories in the Bible were written by us for us, the original stories. What someone did was superimpose another way of thinking about it onto that. So think of, in this case, your own egregore as a coat that you used to own. Somebody stole the coat and they dyed it a particular color and put a couple extra buttons on it. And now we're saying, yeah, this is my coat, not yours. and you not knowing any better, believe it.
Oh,
But
so
then
actually
one day
the fact
somebody,
that you believe, okay, okay.
then somebody one day says, no, 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 that's yours. And they show you a picture of what it originally looked like. Now you go and take it back and you restore it back to what it originally looked like. This is our work. You see, our work is to know. Jesus, for instance, we say in our teaching, Holy Quran of the More Science of America, watch this. Jesus taught, heaven, earth, and hell are not above, around, or below, but within.
Condition, yes, sir.
Okay, that is a totally different perspective on heaven, earth, and hell that the current world lives in.
That is a good example. Yes, sir.
So it's paradigm shifting. So if we take that and then we live that way, and then we form communities that live that way, you change the world. What we just demonstrated is exactly what they did to our Jesus.
That is interesting. You know what? That will be maybe our next subject, talking about the Bible and Jesus.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Because if there is an interest in that, yes, we will do it.
Yeah.
I know it's a touchy subject, but
Yeah.
if there's a link.
But it's important. Let me tell you why it's so important. Look at the current world. Look at the current state of the world. Look at what has been used to create it. Your brother Jesus. See that?
Yes.
So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The knowledge of Jesus rules the world. That's your brother. That's my brother. We want the right perspective. Guess what? Why? Here's the next question you want to ask yourself. Why did the Roman Catholic Church choose Jesus? Maybe that knowledge already ruled the world.
Why did they have choose Jesus?
Why did they choose Jesus as the standard to build their worldview on? Follow my example. I'm gonna give you an analogy. Martial arts analogy. The greatest Japanese swordsman in the modern era, Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi had over 200 duels, won all of them. So many people wanted his reputation. Were they going to get his reputation by killing 200 people? No, they're just going to kill him. You see?
So what you're saying is because he was very popular at the time?
The knowledge that the story of Jesus embodied already ruled the world. They hijacked the car. That's all.
I hope that, brother, you have answered the question of our brother, which is a very good question. Because
very good question.
I heard it a lot of time.
Yes, Emperor Constantine, that's right. But not just Emperor Constantine. Matter of fact, let me pull up something that I wrote a while back that will definitely contribute to the next conversation. Let me see if I can find it. Americanism. Let me see if I can find where I'm actually talking about some of these things. Mary, there it is. I found it. Okay. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek.
Are you gonna put me in trouble?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'll give you a little sneak peek of the of this piece that I wrote. Hold on. There we go. Let me share my screen. Share screen. All right. So
you're gonna put me in trouble.
All right.
Oh, yes, you're going to put me on trouble. Wow.
You-
Jesus and Marie Madeleine. Wow. Okay.
So here, right here, this part right here. The term desposini is a Greek term that refers to the direct relatives and descendants of Jesus. Historical accounts, this is an actual historical account, makes reference to Jesus' siblings, including Hegesippus, who wrote 5 books of commentaries on the Acts of the Church, right? So let's skip down. Here's my marker. Here we go. Follow this close. In ecclesiastical history, Eusebius records an account by Julianus Africanus, recorded the following concerning the family. The family of who? The family of Jesus. This is so important, what I'm about to show you. For the relatives of our Lord, according to the flesh, whether with the desire of boasting or simply wishing to state the fact, in either case truly have banded down the following account. But as there had been kept in the archives up to that time, the genealogies of the Hebrews, as well as those who trace their lineage back to proselytes, such as Achior the Ammonite and Ruth the Moabitess. That's important because the modern name for Moabites is Moroccans.
Whoa, hold on. Ruth the Moabite, we're going back, you know?
Yes, we are.
Is it not at the time of the prophet Mordecai?
Yeah, and Ruth became Ruth and her marriage to King Boaz.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to those who were mingled, in other words, what's being said here, Brother Gino, is there was an actual genealogical record in those days of people who connected themselves to Ruth. And that afforded them a certain status in the early church. And then it says, and to those who were mingled with the Israelites and came out of Egypt with them, Herod, inasmuch as the lineage of the Israelites contributed nothing to his advantage. Okay, yeah, they're talking about the lineage here. There's another piece. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. Apologies. This is what I wanted to get to. The issues in the discussion centered around first century Christian practice and customs. That the first century Christian churches were always governed by a despotinos, in other words, a relative of Jesus. And each of them carried one of the names traditional in Jesus's family. Further, it was stated that there were at the time at least 3 well-known and authentic lines of legitimate blood descent from Jesus's own family. Now watch this. Joseph demanded that Pope Sylvester revoke his confirmation of authority of the Greek Christian bishops at Jerusalem, Antioch, Ephesus, and Alexandria, and to name desposinos bishops, in other words, bloodline relatives, to replace them, and the practice of sending finance to Jerusalem as the mother church be resumed. He also demanded the reintroduction of the Mosaic law, the practice of the Sabbath. You mean Christians practiced the Sabbath in the first century? And the holy day system of feasts. Sylvester dismissed their claims and stated that from now on the mother church was in Rome. And he insisted they accept the Greek bishops to lead them. Here, this is my words, we can get a clear view of the complexion of first century Christian practice and also the opposition from Rome. This occurring prior or before the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD that gave final authoritative decisions that would switch the complexion and nature of Christianity from an Afro-Arabian one to a European one. What I just showed you was where the exact point where Europe hijacked your brother.
And that was 200 years before the Council of Nice.
Yep.
You see, that's a very interesting point, brother. I knew it that you were going to put me in trouble, because when we're talking about the Hebrew, are we talking about an ethnic group or a language, or people who speaking a language?
Now, when we're talking about the Hebrew, well, that's a show all by itself. That's a show all by itself, and I'm going to give you an example why. In the records called the Armana papers. Yes. So these were records between government officials and pharaohs in the 18th century Egypt, or 18th dynasty Egypt. The
18th dynasty of Egypt.
And in those, it speaks of a group of Canaanites and Moabites who were driven out of their homeland by Joshua, son of Nun, who was ahead of a band of wanderers called the Habiru, the Hebrew.
But that name was, I don't understand it. That name of that group, which was leading by Joshua.
Yes.
When they're using the name Hebrew, was it their name as a group?
Yes. But the question now becomes, were they an old nation of people, or were they wanderers? You see?
Okay, that's my point. That was a name given because they were moving, and not a name of us. Okay, I understand.
Yes, sir.
So, and after that, they have adopted that as a name.
Yes,
and
sir.
they, and in what you just mentioned, they have done what? They have cast out the Mohabit.
What I mentioned is actually recorded. Hold on. The Armana letters. That's where it's recorded in. The Armana letters. The Armana letters. Matter of fact, I'll share my screen again. The Armana letters are a body of, as it says right here, a body of 14th century BCE correspondence exchanged between the rulers of ancient Near Eastern Egypt. They are perhaps the earliest examples of international diplomacy, while their most common subjects are negotiations of diplomatic marriage, friendship statements, and exchange materials.
Okay, brother Sharif. I mean, we're gonna stop that because that will be another subject. I mean,
Yes, sir.
wow.
Yes, sir.
I never heard about that. Amana. Okay, you have a lot that you're gonna share with us, or maybe for the next time that we will.
Brother, you are a phenomenal host, because we can put down notes. Like you do this, we do this all the time. I'm sharing this with the viewers. You'll say, okay, we need some topics. We need to stick to these topics. It never happens, but we always end up dealing with all the topics, right? Because you're just a phenomenal host. You know how to ask the right questions at the right time. And I like that, because it's challenging in a very good way to me, because I want to see how well I know my subject.
So you see, in French is interdépendance mutuelle. So there's a mutual.
Yes.
We exchange. Let's say
Yes,
let's put it like this. Yeah, we're correct. So, brother, I mean, because of the time, it will be cut here. I will have to move, brother. I really appreciate what we're doing. I mean, you brought something very touchy about Bible and Jesus, and I know that it's going to shock a lot of people. Maybe it's going to be our next subject.
Yes,
because
sir.
And you know what? I definitely did. I love that type of discussion.
Yes, sir.
And the letter you just showed me, I was like, wow. This is something that we have to go deep, because yes, if we can say that there's a link between Osiris and us, maybe there's a link between Jesus, maybe, and us, maybe, because we know that our enemy have hide a lot of information from us, because he want us to stay in a state of artificial people.
That's fact.
That's a fact.
That's
So
fact.
we're trying to do a work, and I really appreciate the time and what we are sharing.
Yes, sir.
Brother, thank you very much.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate the work you're doing.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for everyone that are on the Zoom, for everyone that are in Facebook. And I mean, let us work together, whatever group or organization. We just have to take a discussion. We have to unite and, you know what, share love. I mean, this was a wonderful message, brother. The principle of sharing love to one another. Is it how you say that in English?
Yes, yes, yes.
Donc, démontrer de l'amour l'un envers l'autre, bref.
Absolutely.
Regardless our ethnicity, regardless our nationality.
Right.
It can be a different nation, but it's okay. I mean, we have to work together. Brother Sharif is available to share us some great information to help us in our development. I believe, Brother Sharif, if people have questions, they can, through Facebook, write to you directly.
Absolutely. They can contact me directly through Facebook at no problem. I will answer everyone.
Good. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it will be another, we will take another time to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Merci à tout le monde. Merci aux frères et sœurs qui sont sur la plateforme. Merci à ceux qui nous écoutent. Frère Sharif Bey est aux États-Unis, à New York. Il est un membre du Moorish Temple et il est vraiment disponible à partager les connaissances. In his organization, he is a teacher.
Yes.
You are, right?
Yes.
And il se peut fort possible que nos prochaines discussions vont être plus au sujet de la Bible, Jésus, un peu la religion. Donc, restez avec nous. Thank you very much, Brother Sharif. I will not hold you much longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Peaceful day. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.